guys, and welcome to my newest video. My name is Laura, and today I would like to talk to you guys about the 10 mistakes that I made during my exchange year. For those of you who are new here, I did an exchange year in the US in 2014 and 2015. I stayed in Texas for 10 months, and those are all of the things that I learned during my stay there. The hard lesson number one that I learned during my exchange year was that romantic relationships in the US are quite different from the way that I was used to them here in Germany or in Europe in general. I find that in the US it is way harder for girls and boys to just be friends. So whenever I was walking through the hallways of the school and a guy would be talking to me and asking how my day was, saying good morning to me, I would be very friendly in reply because that is the way I was used to in Germany. And over here it's just that when guys and girls hang out or even just talk in the hallway, that doesn't really mean anything. People might speculate at first, but once you tell them that you're actually just friends, nobody's really going to question it, that guys and girls can be friends. But I find that in the US, whenever I was hanging out with a guy, and even if it was in a group of people, people would be questioning whether we were dating or anything like that. So this is something you need to be aware of. If you're going to be hanging out with a guy one-on-one, besides in school, people are going to think that you're dating or that you like each other. So if you don't want to give anybody the wrong impression, or if you don't want anybody to think that you're dating anybody, just don't hang out with guys in private. Always make sure it's a group of people that includes guys, girls, and just be really open and honest about what this relationship is, because it can lead to a lot of misunderstandings. Something that is quite connected to that is my mistake or lesson number 2. It is that, especially when you're going to the south of the US, many people are not going to tell you when you've made a mistake. So there's a lot of cultural differences, obviously, and especially in the religious and somewhat conservative south, there are a lot of things that I was not used to, a lot of things that are common knowledge for people that live there, but that I obviously got wrong because I'm not from there and I wasn't raised being aware of all of these things. So if I was wearing something that somebody might term too revealing in the heat of the Texan summer because I was showing shoulders or had rips in my jeans or anything like that, nobody would tell me. And so I would just walk around wearing the wrong thing for weeks before somebody would finally tell me that it might not be appropriate, or I would behave in a certain way or do something and nobody would actually tell me that it's not usual to behave in this way or what would be a better alternative. And so just be aware of that. Be really open and honest. Ask questions if you're ever unaware of how you should be behaving, what you should be wearing. Really make sure that you look at other people in the same situation, and at least in the beginning, before you get a feel of the culture more, just try to copy what the other people are doing and fake it till you make it. Lesson number 3 is also connected to that. It is that some people are going to talk about you, especially when you're going to a small town like I did. People are really going to be interested in you at first, which is great because it gives you a lot of opportunity, especially in the beginning, to get to talk to guys and girls at your school, and you will make friends that way because people are going to ask questions. But after this whole initial phase fades off, you realize that not everything people talk about is nice when it comes to you. Obviously, most people are going to be nice at first, but people are also going to say quite rude things behind your back, whether it's because you're wearing something, because you're behaving a certain way, because you talked to somebody or didn't talk to somebody. You're the hot new thing in town and everybody is kind of trying to get to know you, trying to figure out who you are, and people are going to spread rumors because as a new thing, you're interesting, and so people make up stories. So this is just something that you have to be aware of, that no matter how much you try to be perfect and how well you try to behave, there's always somebody saying something about something you did, and even if you did everything right, then people are going to make up rumors because it's just interesting to talk about you. I actually had an experience again when I went back to that small town that I lived in for 10 months in spring of last year, right before COVID hit, and I talked to one of my best friends, Hannah, and she actually told me about all of those crazy rumors that were spread about me after I left. And some of those rumors were just completely outrageous, and if anybody who knew me would have known about this, then they would have known that it was just something that I would never ever do. And I'm sure that people who knew me knew that those rumors weren't true, but I could see how people that just basically wanted drama and wanted entertainment and didn't really know me would participate in spreading those rumors. And yeah, just be aware that not everything that's going to be said about you is going to be nice, and that sometimes you just have to take it with a smile and just know that what you're doing is the best you can do. Know that what you're doing is polite, nice, correct, and whatever people are saying, just try to ignore it, because you're not going to be able to change their minds anyway. You just have to, you know, get through it, and hopefully it only happens after you're done. Just be aware of it. Lesson number 4 that I learned while I was in the US is that it is so important to join clubs. I joined the volleyball team at my school. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty hard work, because we would train for 3 hours after school plus 45 minutes during school time, and after a day or two I really wanted to quit, because my whole body was aching, my muscles were completely sore, and I just didn't feel like I would be able to make it. All of my teammates had done all of this training stuff and all of the practice for years and years, and were so much better than me, and their conditioning was so much better, their muscles were so much stronger than mine, and I just didn't feel like I could keep up. But I was actually really glad that I decided to stay on the team, because it is quite hard to make friends with the Americans in school, because you're switching classrooms with every single period, and you don't get to talk to everybody in school, because obviously you have class while you're sitting there, and then you switch in the classroom and there's not really time in between besides the lunch break. So it is really hard to make friends without being part of clubs. So what I would advise you is to definitely try and get into one of the sports teams. They usually let exchange students in pretty easily, and if sports is not your thing at all and you are lucky enough to go to a big school, maybe join a language class or an art class or anything like that, so that you can actually make friends. Also, if you do like sports but you don't want to participate yourself, maybe get yourself a position as a team manager for the cheerleading team or the football team, for example. That way you actually get to talk to the athletes and make friends with them without actually having to do all the running and lifting. My tip number 5 is to say yes to things. Obviously there are going to be days where you're not feeling good, where you just need to rest, and that's totally fine. But I would advise you that most of the time when somebody asks you to do something, maybe go see a movie, or maybe go to the football game, or go on a trip, or anything like that, just say yes, because most of the time you're not gonna regret saying yes, but you are gonna regret saying no, because who knows what you might experience, who knows who you might meet along the way. I actually have a bit of a funny story that I like to look back on, because it was one of the first nights that I was in the States living with my family, and I remember that my host brother was invited to this party, and at first I was kind of reluctant to go because I didn't know anyone. I was quite tired, the whole situation was really new for me. They made me go, and I'm so happy I did, because I actually at this party met today one of my best friends, Hannah, because we started talking about One Direction and played basketball. And if I had not formed that friendship, then such an important part of my exchange year and my life would have been missing. I am so grateful for this friendship. So that was one of the best experiences ever. And I also said yes to a trip to Disney World in Florida after kind of being reluctant to go because the price was kind of high. And I actually met AJ and Mattis and so many others, Jenny, everybody. It was so great. It was all of these exchange students going, and we had the best time, and I made friendships for life, and I could not be more thankful that I said yes to this opportunity. So just do it. Say yes to all exchange student trips if you can somehow afford it. Say yes to people inviting you out. Say yes to going to prom, homecoming, games, anything like that. Just say yes, and yeah, if you don't like it, you can probably always leave. So just try it out and see how you like it. My tip number 4 is connected to that again. It is make exchange student friends. Obviously you can learn so much from just talking to the Americans, and you can learn so much about the American culture, which is obviously your main purpose, and it's probably best for you English as well. But let me just tell you, if you're going to the US with an organization, you're most likely going to be offered to go on a lot of trips that involve other exchange students, and there's so much to learn from those people, because you're probably never going to get the chance of sitting at a table with 20 people from 20 different countries and having all of those cultures and nationalities and languages mixed. And I've never experienced anything like that. It's so special to be able to talk about certain issues and topics with people from so many different cultures that have such unique perspectives. And now I know people in all kinds of places. If I ever want to visit or need any tips or anything like that, or I need to know anything about the culture, it is so great to know so many people from all around the world, and you're never gonna get that chance again, so just take it. My tip number 7 is kind of a reverse of what I just said, but with a little bit of a twist. It is, don't talk to people of your nationality too much. I had another German guy go to the same school as I did, but we really made a point of not speaking too much German in front of the Americans and of not hanging out exclusively, because I know that it can seem kind of weird to the Americans if you're just speaking a different language. People are gonna think that you're talking about them, and you didn't go all this way to only talk to people of your own nationality. You already know so much about your own country. It is time to learn about something that is either in the country that you're going to, or at least people from other nationalities, like other exchange students. Just don't spend all of your time talking to people that you could have access to at any time. Just make sure that you really arrive in the culture. Also, don't be on your phone all day. You're just going to be missing out on so many opportunities and so many fun things to do if you are just stuck talking to people you already know. I know it's hard, but push yourself out of that comfort zone. Force yourself to make other friends, and yeah, you will not regret it, I promise. My tip number 8 is something that I had to learn the hard way. It is, do not, and I repeat, do not give your opinion too openly on controversial issues, especially in the beginning of your exchange year. I made the mistake of talking about gun control in my first couple of weeks in the US, and obviously me living in Texas, that wasn't so much of a smart idea, because I just didn't realize all of the things that are connected to it. I didn't realize how different the culture was, and maybe the different needs that the people have for security. Just all of the factors that go into the discussion. I just wasn't aware of it. I wasn't able to judge it, and it's not my place basically to judge a different culture. And you need to be really aware of your brain being wired a certain way because you were raised in a certain place, but now you're in a different place. So just make sure that you are not being so judgmental about religious aspects, conservative aspects, anything like that. This is a different country. And what I also have to say is, even though it might be useful to give your opinion in a one-on-one talk where you really know that the person is open to discussing ideas with you, most likely in a group setting it is only going to do you harm, because people are going to think less of you, and you're probably not going to change their minds because they've been stuck in their culture for so long, just as you have been in your own. So you're probably not going to change your whole mindset just because one random person said something. So you can express your opinions, just make sure that the environment is appropriate and that the people that you're talking to, and you as well, are just open about changing their perspective, and you about changing your perspective potentially as well. My mistake and lesson number 9 is to make sure that you're not focusing on quantity of friends, but on the quality of them. At first, I tried to just basically reach out to just about anyone, to talk to anyone, to make friends with anyone that I could, because I was so desperate to find connections with somebody, to form friendships with someone, because I was just feeling lonely in the beginning, which is totally normal. But after some time, you realize that you gravitate naturally towards certain people, and that you feel like you can trust some people more than others. It is totally okay not to be friends with any and everyone in your school. It does not mean that you're the failure of an exchange student. It does not mean that you're not successful or that your year isn't going great. Make sure that you pick out maybe 1 to 5 at most great friends that you really like and that you can trust and talk to. And you really don't need any more of that. You don't need to be friends with like 50 people. Obviously, you're going to be talking to some more people, but you don't have to trust everyone. You don't have to tell everybody your secrets. secrets, because as I told you in the beginning, your secrets are going to be the most interesting of all. So just make sure that you find friends that you can actually trust and that get you. You don't have to be friends with everybody. You're going to be fine. Choose quality friends, and those friendships are actually going to last you a lifetime potentially. So take your time and choose the right ones. And my last tip number 10, is to keep a diary. Shoot photos and videos because you're going to want to remember this time. I wish I had kept a diary more often. I do have one, but I only filled it in like every other week or so, and I wish I actually had kept a daily diary because an exchange year happens so quickly. You're learning so many new things, you're getting to know so many new people, and basically your brain cannot keep all of this information in here for very long. So it would be so helpful to have a daily diary to just remember all of the things, to be able to kind of process it all in hindsight and to really see like what was your first impression of that person versus how you felt about them like a couple months in, or how you feel about them now after. Yeah, just take a lot of videos especially as well. I was really thankful that I had this YouTube channel back then, and even though I didn't film that much, I still have a couple of memories of my 15-16-year-old me, and I can look back on them and it's really cool. Also, just take millions of pictures. You're not gonna regret it. Obviously live in the moment as well, but just make sure that you have enough memories that you can look back on. And yeah, so you guys, those were my 10 most important tips that I have for you. Learn from my mistakes, don't repeat them. Obviously you're gonna learn a lot by making mistakes, but if I could help you out and hopefully you can avoid some of my mistakes, then I think I did my job. I would really appreciate if you guys left me in the comments below what you think your most important tip was out of this video, and if you already did your exchange year, please also let me know if you've made any of the same mistakes that I did, so that I don't feel as alone anymore and as stupid. If you would like me to do any more exchange student content, please leave video ideas down in the comments below. I'm super open and happy to talk to you guys more about my exchange year experience. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be making more videos about my year, and possibly doing some story time videos, and I'm also going to be telling you guys how to organize an exchange year as a student and as a university student pretty soon, so you can look forward to that. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, make sure that you subscribe and that you hit the notification bell to never miss any of my future content. Also make sure to subscribe to my Instagram, and yeah, I can't wait to see you guys in my next video, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!